Hey, do you want to get your blue belt sooner? Everyone does. The people that say they'd rather have a white belt for 4 years and be that killer is lying, and that they can beat up black belts. Come on. You want that blue belt. The reason why you're still stuck at white belt is because something is wrong. 4 years. Let's be real. No one trains that long, doesn't want nothing to show for it. If you're okay with that, good for you, because you're not in the norm. So don't lie to yourself. You want that blue belt. If you just started Jiu-Jitsu, these tips will definitely help you get faster at obtaining your blue belt. This is me, back when I first obtained my blue belt. Since then, I'm a purple belt now. I remember those early days, coming back to Jiu-Jitsu after quitting for 15 years like I had something to prove. I changed my mindset and eventually got it, and we'll talk about that. It took me approximately a year to a year and a half to get my blue belt. I could have gotten a little sooner, but I wanted to compete, and I told my instructor that to hold off on that promotion. So if you want to get your blue belt in a year to a year and a half, well, I'll share my journey so it can help you on yours. So a little backstory. I used to kickbox at a kickboxing gym, pretty competitive gym that had a lot of fighters. I thought I was pretty tough, and my coworker at the time was training at a jiu-jitsu gym just down the street. He goaded me trying it, and I eventually did. So the idea of someone else completely manhandling me was completely foreign to me. So training at this gym was a very humbling experience, especially rolling with the colored belts. I was pretty young at that time. I think I was around 18, 19. I was beating up a lot of white belts just simply because I was stronger and younger. But one day, I was paired up with a purple belt. I remember it like it was yesterday. The guy had a very calm demeanor, no expression on his face, almost like he knew something that I didn't. So I approached him calmly while he was sitting down. He easily swept me within the first 5 seconds, went straight into full mount, and as I squirmed like I was completely gassed out, to which then he sunk in a collar choke and finished me off. That was pretty embarrassing. Next pairing, I was matched up with my blue belt friend. He did exactly the same thing. I couldn't tell the difference between a blue belt and a purple belt. That's when I realized how good a blue belt really was. They were like gods, and I'll explain in a future video what the big differences are between a blue belt and a purple belt. The most important thing to do to fast track to your blue belt is consistency. Consistency is key. I used to train multiple disciplines, and I wondered why I wasn't getting better at Jiu-Jitsu. I wasn't getting any stripes or progress markers. It's simply because I wasn't showing up to Jiu-Jitsu class. When I started showing up 3 to 4 times a week, things started clicking and I was getting rewarded for it. Even if you're too tired, just show up. It means you're one step closer to blue belt. You should also take it as a cardio session. You're going to lose a lot of weight and get leaner and fitter. I get it, those sparring sessions can be really grueling, but you don't have to make it like that. You can set the pace. If you don't feel like going hard, you don't have to. Just tell your partners to go easy, or just sit around out, or you can always drill with them. Ask them to drill a move that you want to learn or get better at, or just simply say no, that you're done for the day. So just show up to class, set your own pace. You don't have to do something you don't want to. I used to spend hours on YouTube watching tutorials on flying arm bars and flying triangles. I would focus on the fundamentals. Focus on the basics. The fancy stuff like Toriko platas, Barada platas, that can come later. The fancy moves are nice, but they don't mean anything when you're stuck under side control or full mount, or worse, north-south position. If someone's way bigger than you and they got you in north-south position, it's hard to get out of. You feel like you're getting mother's milk all the time from someone's belly. So master the basics. Guard passes, escapes, sweeps. These basics will help you win matches. So don't fall into the trap of learning advanced moves first before learning the basics. Your instructor's watching. He knows what you're using. If your instructor sees that you're applying his techniques correctly, under pressure, you bet he's going to reward you. I'm not really a speaker, and I'm not the kind of person that asks a million questions. I like to sit back in class, take notes, and review it later. So what I did was I memorized what I did not know, did not understand, and I would take that home with me, and I would study it. And if I still didn't understand it, I'll come to class the next day and ask someone. Ask the instructor. Then I would try again until it makes sense. And if it was a move that I didn't like, I would throw it out. But if there's something that stuck with me, I would take it and keep it with me and incorporate it into my game. So take some mental notes, bring it home with you, and study it. Watch tape, watch competition even, on how other people apply that move. Just make an effort to try to understand the techniques and concepts. It'll go a long way. When I first started sparring, I held on to people with my dear life. I was death gripping everything. I squeezed with all my energy and would gas out within the first minute. My mind was empty, I didn't know what I was doing. So I advise you, when you're coming into these sparring sessions, think of something you want to do. Once I started focusing on specific goals for sparring, things started clicking much faster, and I was progressing much faster. Do things like work on strictly escapes, fending off your back, or trying to sweep. Even just the idea of just simply surviving using a simple technique like elbow escapes. And don't be discouraged if things don't work. Keep trying and keep getting better. Then moving on to the next technique that you feel like you need to work on. Have intent with your sparring. Use these sessions to practice your weaknesses, and you will get better faster. You're probably thinking, what is my weakness? Well, just start with the basics, trying to escape. If you're always on your back, work on things like escaping. Just shrimping, taking better grips, framing, work on that, and you will improve over time. So every academy has different promotion requirements. Some want you to master specific movesets and techniques, or some just focus on time on the mats. Some even want you to compete. So here's a tip, don't be afraid to ask your coach what he's looking for in you to progress. Please don't sleep with your instructor, though that would be helpful. And let's be real, earning your blue belt is like running a marathon in slow motion with someone sitting in your chest, dripping sweat into your mouth. It takes time and patience. You'll get there. Just celebrate the small wins, laugh at your mistakes, and just remember that the journey is part of the fun. Also, tapping is free, so get used to it. Just have some patience and perseverance. Nothing good comes without a little bit of patience and perseverance. You'll eventually get your blue belt. Like many have said, as long as you show up, you'll eventually get your blue belt. The blue belt is really more a time and patience thing. Purple belt is where you need to take it up a notch, but we'll talk about that in a future video. This will be you one day, getting your blue belt on top of a mountain, holding your instructor's hand, telling him that you love him. You'll get there, I promise. Jokes aside, please don't sleep with your instructor. You'll forever be known as that person. And let me tell you this, the jiu-jitsu community is very brutal. They don't forgive and they don't forget. And when they latch onto something, it's on. They're gonna come get you. That's the final tip. So hopefully I helped you a little bit with my journey and how you can get your blue belt with what I experienced. If I can do it, you can do it too. See you in the next one.